Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Love to see you around here more often. Just wanted to get that out of the way. And we're going to continue playing here. Okay, they didn't grant us transit rights. I wanted to get that with Saudi Arabia. Not close enough yet. Okay, so we've got mountain HQs have advanced. Good. Those are good. Motorized HQs, I think we'll go with that. Next, submarine crew berthing has advanced. That is good. We'll leave that for the moment, but we'll jump over here for snorkels. Uprising out here. Now, snorkels seem like a no-brainer thing. Don't know why we're not having any supply. Because we're not shipping supplies to there. Okay, well, okay, we're gonna go over to manual. Supply convoy. Create a supply convoy from, what is it? Pola to Tel Aviv. Now, but we're going to come over here with that, I think. And mountain HQs. Good. No, old guard, that's no good here. Oh yeah, I was wanting to say about snorkels. Snorkels, you think, yeah, that's just a purely good idea. And it is a great idea, that there's no doubt. And of course, these are submarine engines, need normally diesel, but I don't know that they have to be. I think most of them were, but need a, both an oxygen source and an exhaust. And their main, and if you go under the water, you can't quite, you suck up all the air and whatnot. So it's not good. And so you need, and you use that diesel power to both move the vessel forward and charge up your batteries so that you go onto electrical power and go under the sea. Now, what happens is you're on the surface and people see you and attack you. And if you have a snorkel, of course, you go under the water, you have a little thing up on the surface. We've talked earlier about the Mediterranean, at least during good weather, you can see down quite a ways. So, well, a snorkel helps, but it doesn't do a whole, it's not a magic bullet. Just the teeniest little bit of technical element, I mean truly just teeniest little bit of technical elements of radar. And a lot of the different radar frequencies can or can't see things at different ranges and angles and altitudes. but I'm sure, depending on, but I don't know again the details of if you pick, some of the airborne radar particularly, but also surface radar, of spotting something out of the ocean. But if you just have a little snorkel up there above water that has a metallic thing that would reflect radio waves back to the target, that's got to be a much harder to identify, and even depending on the frequency or the size of the wave, you may or may not even get a return off of it. But a conning tower, and maybe part of the, if you got more of the submarine up there, aircraft flying around with radar are going to spot submarines, through bad weather, through clouds, at night, whatnot. But a snorkel, I am absolutely sure they've got to be harder to spot. I don't know, depending on the model, depending on the thing, it may be effectively invisible for the radar. But obviously, if you're along the, if you're out, even, out in the ocean doing aircraft spotting, you can spot a snorkel because it'll leave a wake, because it always has to be up above the surface. It'll leave, a V-shaped wake behind it, and you'll spot it. Not as easy as you'll spot a surface submarine, but you'll spot it. But what really the German submariners hated, now they might have been very appreciative of having it, but hated the snorkel, is because particularly in the Atlantic, it's a rough sea. So you would constantly have, because you want to sort of stay low and you don't want this be a big huge mast up into the sky, is that the wave would come over the snorkel, and it had a float in it. That sort of some of the key elements to it had a float into it that would float up, so no water would come, or a minuscule amount of water at best would come into the snorkel. But that constantly, as you hear in my hands, as each wave sort of hitting the thing, would cut off the air supply, so it immediately create either higher pressure or negative pressure or whatever, but the pressure changes, and it'd be significant to your ears. It's constantly happening. So if you're in any sort of mildish roughish seas, you're constantly having this pressure wave going throughout the submarine, as it would briefly cut off the air and either increase or decrease, or however it was working to deal with that. So they weren't very popular, but so it isn't a completely without consequences. I mean, I'm all well, obviously the game effects we of course immediately take the snorkel, but I can see why it is not something that is 100, or is the I'm trying to think here how to say this correctly. The benefits outweigh the problems, but there are problems with it, and I think clearly outweigh the problems. Now, it is not in any easy sense to retrofit snorkels to submarines. Not that it's impossible, because hell, almost anything like that is possible. It just takes a hell of a lot of work. But it really more or less requires building it into the submarine as you build it. So Donuts was just, we need more subs out there today. An extra 3 subs today is better than 6 subs in 6 months or something like that, and not as good subs today. He just was really pushing it, so they really didn't push for better improvements to submarines when they had stuff like, because they got the snorkel technology from the Dutch, and very quickly, I mean, they investigated it, of course, and found it to how it worked and whatnot, but it was a very quick thing to do, and they sort of like, okay, yeah, great technology. It's going to take how many months to get working, or whatever, and get it into the design, and it's going to slow up production by how much? And they went, okay, no. that's sort of what they did. So they, how long until you get to attack? 33 hours. Okay, so you start marching for there. We're having a little bit of a... Got these guys up. Let's... Convoy raid passively the Red Sea, just to sort of make sure, see if there's anybody here. Yes, you can have the supplies, Soviets. We want to draw supplies. Oop, they're storming our beach. Ah, ha 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 ha. Don't think this is scripted, but this is interesting. They're coming ashore. Oh, they're blocking that path. Okay, we come down here for now. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay, some of those light infantry and commandos. Well, von Kleist's panzer group, that's good enough. Guderian's command group there currently. Mountain troops, they'll fight well. I don't know how big this is, but they'll probably get ashore on me. So the AI, this is I think pure AI, is being aggressive. Oh, that's a remainder division, element. Supposed to disappear, but didn't. Okay, so we have this now. We also want to yeah, you can air intercept over there. No, okay. Okay, no order. Yeah, you're beat up. You're going to attack naval strike aggressively. There. Oh, this is part of the Flieger für Iraq. Oh man, I've got a lot of stuff I've been meaning to sort of do here. Now, you guys, can you go to? Is there anywhere to land here? Can you go? No. So we have this, but their revolt, they haven't joined us yet. We can from here, I think. Nope, we can't even base. We don't even have access to here. I think this is bugged. Because if we were supposed to have access, and we definitely went from a good position here to a bad one. Well, but we're here. I don't know. Okay, that really doesn't matter. No, you're gonna naval attack. I've changed my mind on that. Did we already tell you to do so? No. They're returning to go do that. And I think I have some more over here. Well, thought I got some guys shifted, maybe. Not so much. Well, Flieger Corps C. Okay, yeah, they're not doing anything. Well, that is the command element there. Okay, they're up there. They're down there. Thought I had more. Okay, I guess that's it. We want to pound whatever ships they have. And we're going to leave these up in port, but we'll load them temporarily. No, they want to stay. I want to continue to unload. Now, I was recently asked, and I'm trying to remember to answer it. I think these guys do upgrade at sea for the stuff that's naturally upgradable. I think. But I'm not sure. I was asked that question. Not the best on all the mechanics, but see what they're doing there, we want to do down here to grab this port. Because because we want to then invade over here, and they've lost this here. I've also thought about putting on troops onto ships here, but then I came down here and saw, oh boy, lots of units, and they've got a level 3 port here, and that's supplying all of these Italians. So I want to open up some more base options for them. Naval strike. Oh, okay. What this may tell me what are we? I'm sounding crazy, like a crazy maniac. So I'm like, okay, you've got everything here. You even have seaplane tenders, which are super slow, but some of these guys, you got a submarine flotilla here, destroyers, lots of destroyer flotillas. Look at all those destroyers, light cruisers, got lots of light cruisers, some heavy cruisers, a bunch of heavy cruisers, a couple of coastal battleships. Looks like they're Dutch or something. Then you got the Renown, the Hood, Eagle, Hermes, Argus, then Conqueror, Lion, War, Royal Sovereign, and then up to the big carriers. These are escort type carriers. Big carriers: Victorious, Domitable, Formidable, Illustrious, Courageous, Furious, Ark Royal, Glorious. Okay. After you get done being pounded on, you can go home. It was a good idea to attack them because I thought, you know, hey. I'm just making sure everybody, okay, you go back to being no order. Once you get, wow, there's going to be, you know, a couple of battleships or something. Okay, well, out here, they've lost the heavy cruiser, South African heavy cruiser Good Hope, and we lost part of the 3rd Flotilla group here. Okay, well, you temporarily go back to here, then we'll move you back. Transport holes, advanced, good. Small warship radar, that sounds fun. So they made sure they came with a big enough fleet. Oh, that's even bigger than I thought. Okay. Good thing they're moving down. They came heavy. They came heavy. Well, might as well have you come down too. Not that we're not going to defeat this force. We're going to defeat this force. But this is a real invasion. I am so pleased that the AI did something as right as this. You guys come down here. Because this, they're into a port. Now it's just a level 1. So they can't supply too much. But they've got a bunch of divisions. So that they will be able to... I thought I was just going to come in here with a couple of stuff. And yeah, we'll give you to that. And we'll just snuff it out. But nope. I've got a bunch of stuff. They, like I said, came heavy. Iraq. Yes, we would give them energy. Sure thing. Are you guys fighting them? Oh, you can attack now, so you attack. Okay, we take them all and whatnot. Wow. Okay. It's this Irene Brigade. We're fighting that. That looks like a very fast motorized unit. Okay, well. Kleist and Guderian are getting real battles. Okay, we pushed them back. They've made it across there. Okay, desert unit training. We're still got battles going in the desert, and that's here. Okay, we'll let this continue. We're gonna have more in the future. Captured British supply depot in Romani. Great. Gain supplies or gain supplies. Captured in that supplies in Cairo. Port Said. Captured supply depots in El Alamein. Okay, good. Now, we of course sort of hit these all at once to some degree, and I've been, shall we say, I'm playing short versions of things, so they may not have been firing as well as they would or could or should. You take that. You go back to the fort. We may need to move some heavier forces there. Maybe up from Africa or those guys, these guys. We're going to try not to let one place get clobbered, but guys are coming. Okay. Pause. High density alloys advanced. Very good. I think that's a one and done, or no, but it's grayed out. Okay. Amphibious invasion focus. Yeah, we'll do that. It's a nice 1940 technology. Airborne unit training. We'll let that continue. We're going to get a bunch of airborne divisions eventually. And yes, we're losing there. And Tel Aviv. Don't know what. That was quite a while ago. Surprised it didn't happen till now. Captured Alexandria, yes. Captured British supply ports in Marissa Maruth. And Vichy trucks for the Africa Corps. Between May 27th and 28th, 1941, Admiral Darlan signed a series of Franco-German protocols regarding the future collaboration between the two countries. Under the terms of agreement, the French government confirmed arrangements to deliver almost 2,000 trucks to the Africa Corps. Okay, interesting. So we get supply throughput until the end of the thing, plus 10%. That is like in Libya, but still that's pretty good. We'll take that. I like the way that's happening. Okay, we didn't even bother moving because I didn't think I'd need all that, but yep, they're going to take all the Peloponnese, it looks like, before we can stop them. Okay. Yes, you can have metal. This is a real AI invasion. See, this is what the AI is supposed to do. Some of you have been around Hearts of Iron 3 longer than I have, I know that. But some of you, because I know you, you are rather new to Hearts of Iron 3. Maybe played other Hearts of Iron or just new to it, generally speaking. But the AI, particularly the British, but I'm used to do invasions, not necessarily heavy invasions like this, but used to do invasions all the time. You will see often still invasions up in here while battle is going on down here, if you leave this area open, you will see that. So it still does that. But it used to be that if you left any one of these ports open, you would get an Allied invasion. And most often British. And they'd come in and they'd land 2 to 4 divisions. And then you could kill them. And then they do it, and then you could move off again, and then they do it, and it was basically suicide invasions. So it was a way to gut the British forces, because they would land good units, but not that many, to an open port, and then you could just rush in there and slaughter them, and so they would die. And so I got in the habit, and I'm still sort of in that habit, of parking a garrison division on each one of these ports. The AI would still attempt to attack, but it would generally fail and then go away. So the division wouldn't be destroyed, but it would go back into that, because because basically you could sit here leaving a couple of these ports home or open, and the British would send all their forces here and be killed, and then you could just, oh, we're invading, and there would be like nothing left in Britain. And this is back when I first found it in For the Motherland days. This is before the last DLC came out. Well, the suicide invasions were pretty bad in that sense. And so you could gut the British forces just piecemeal at a time and destroy them, and then walk across not just Britain, but Britain would be quite possible, but other places. So instead of sending forces to fight in the desert, they would be doing stupid invasions of Europe. Now, so they sort of stopped that. Now, what they did do, in my opinion, is do an overkill, so that they don't hardly ever invade anymore. Now, here we're seeing an invasion. I'm not quite sure why it's doing this. Obviously, we're going to kill it, but if we were... One of the things I think they were trying to do is have the AI try to figure out if you were at war with the Soviet Union. Because what would be a suicide invasion, shall we say, late 1940, early 41, you could have all your panzers sitting over here and just kill the units. But it would be a different matter if you were, knee deep into the Soviet Union and trying to have all your good divisions there. Then some of those other invasions would be useful, but they never did a very good job of it. Maybe this is seeing this as an island here, meaning, even though there is a land connection, that this was a limited controlled space, and that's why they decided to come in. But like I said, I have not seen this before, but they came in heavy, they came in right, and no. Okay, refit old French tanks. There was a huge quantity of military vehicles throughout France in various states and conditions. A number of French armored vehicles were undamaged, had already been in use, either as training vehicles or set abroad to equip various units, usually to access allied nations or a police unit, but these vehicles were often limited by small one-man turrets mounted on an underpowered gun. Now, all of the Salma tanks, we were talking about those on the chat yesterday, as I was making this on Sunday, but be a while until you see it. But it came up in chat. All the Salma tanks to this day, including the one in the French Armored Museum, which is now back in French colors, is a modified German version of the tank. And, they have the one-man turret on the Salma. That's why the Salma sucks. But up above it, or on the top of the turret, there's a little cupola. And it's designed, actually, that because the tanker is supposed to wear a helmet, you're supposed to stick your head up in the little cupola, and that's supposed to sort of engage the little round thing at the top. And then you could turn your head, and as you turn your head, you would look through a vision slit, just an open slit, not a glass periscopy thing or armored glass. It just open vision, and you can look out through this slit. The way you sort of would get out of the the hatch would be sort of from behind. Well, the Germans found this somewhat unacceptable. Or is this the... Am I confusing this with the... No, I think I am confusing this with the... Maybe I'm not. I don't know. No, I'm saying the Cheshire B. It makes me look ridiculous that I'm not remembering. But one of them, either the Cheshire B or the Salma, had it. I think it was the Cheshire B. What the Germans did, and so you could look through the slit. The Germans just simply cut the hatch, the round dome off, and put in a small hatch. You could climb in and out of it, but it's supposedly really tight and that kind of thing. But at least it would allow now the commander to stick his whole head out and look around, get a clear look. Now, of course, people are shooting machine guns at you. You don't really want to stick your head out. But until the machine gun and whatnot firing, you want to sort of see what's going on around you. So the Germans improved them. So the Germans were doing improvements like that to the standard vehicles very early on. They were sort of Germanifying it, like putting radios in all the tanks. Okay, underpowered one, but they were unsuitable for combat against such weapons as the Russian T-34. Also, or as to the wrecks and other vehicles left behind, though a large number of these French tanks were in various states and conditions still remained, these vehicles were of limited usefulness for combat in 42. Up to this point, their primary use, German army, was a symbol of victory of France. Okay, now also they talk about giving this stuff to the Allies here. People like Romania particularly was buying French tanks, so they already had a stock of French tanks, so giving them more French tanks is not much of a problem because they already have a certain amount of spare parts and that kind of thing. So we could do this and get that. We could give them to our allies, or we can destroy the equipment. Well, the supplies are cool, the metal, cool, but we don't really need, and the rare materials, cool, but we could use but don't. I'm sure Italy got a few, but not many. It was more, I think, Romania and Hungary. But I am, of course, rather disappointed with the performance of my allies. So, I'd like, and I don't mean that they're weak or they don't fight well, just their AI, and it's not as useful. So I want them directly. I just trust myself with them much more directly. So we want these. Okay. Now, okay, so now we have these, and I knew these were basically, at least I thought they were still coming. Okay, so we have, captured French artillery, captured, that's right, we wanted to, okay, so we have a Panzer Abteilung or brigade or whatever, so we'll need to build some reconnaissance and some maybe semi-motorized forces for that. So some of these are going to come through. Tirpitz is coming through pretty fast there. Ralph Zeppelin is not that far behind. Now, since they are sort of weakish forces, we need 4. So let's just do motorcycle reconnaissance, just to get some reconnaissance. Trying to do armored cars, just I think is a bit of a waste on these vehicles. Now here it comes down to speed is useful. Speed is very good, but we would have 25 and 0.6 IC costs for 44 days. That's not so long. Or we have, once we get spending it, or we have 26 IC costs for 82 days. That's double the time, basically, for semi-motorized. I don't think it's necessary to make them that big and strong. So let's give them motorized. So it's 44 days. So we'll give them that. Now, they're all having And so hopefully these guys here will be, well, they may not be very good penetrators. They've all got artillery, they've all got some anti-tank guns. All got some of that stuff. Well, they could all use a headquarters. Yeah, let's produce new ones. I was thinking about trying to shift some stuff down to the bottom for headquarters. That'll get the combined arms aspect going. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I haven't forgotten. I'm just thinking I'm skipping engineers. So we'll do that. Now we'll move all of these down. These will take a while to get to. So I mean, this will still be a while, but so that way they'll have a little bit more meat on them to be somewhat useful. Tropical island garrison units. Okay, good. We can now do that. Form the core. Sure, great. Oh wow, we've actually won there too. Oh, okay. Oh no, we haven't won there. We won here. I don't know how long we can keep that up. Oh, okay. Aero engine research has advanced. Very good. I think that's grayed out. Yeah. Let's shift that to twin engine airframe. And American blueprint stolen. Our spies have stolen us plans. That's some twin engine armament research. Okay, so that is here's twin engine armament research. So we jumped up there. Okay, good. Fine. And you need to come down to here. There. Get that going. And you. There we go. And do we have pike at 50 JG 53 pike at? Yeah, we can create new ones, but new stacks, but I'd rather have a okay, there we go. Yeah, that's good. That'll get us to 4. That's about a good size. Great. Yes, please activate the unit. SS Armored Engineers. Okay, Yvette and Maria, that's the 2 girls there. There are 2 waitresses that live upstairs in the cafe to make life livable. They share the favors. They share their favors with the German troops for ration items. 2 of the most popular games they play: wet celery with a flying helmet or feather duster in the egg whisk. They and many other French women hooked up with German soldiers for extra rations, silk stockings, and other perks throughout occupied zones. Now, you'll see a pretty big supply hit here. And that is not just for these 2 girls of what they're soaking off, but I looked at that as at least somewhat, not the whole game the whole time, but just a stuff that's finding other you know, coming through the German supply system and being shared out to women and others in France, and sort of the wastage given out. So that's what that is. So it's a broader game element than just what's going on in Neuville. Okay, wood gasifiers, and we've talked a little bit about this before. This is the civilian element here. Ringhof Tatra, that's the Tatra Czech company, was making those. That's an ad for that. This is Gustav Generation, or Generation, or however you pronounce that. That's the Gustav Works were also an ad for theirs. along with other companies, would build wood gasifier systems to be added to commercial, agricultural, and civil vehicles. In Germany alone, around 500,000 producer gas vehicles were in use in 1945. So this 500,000, starting sometime late 41, or no, late 40, I would say, they start to come into the system. There's not a lot pre-war. You can see here just sort of a diagram of what the engine sort of looked like. There's one hooked onto the back of a motorcycle sidecar, and there's one hooked onto a tractor. You can sort of see at the front is where the burning things is, and the stack. And basically, if you don't know, and this is sort of in the back of the bed that feeds this one, like sort of like that, is you put wood in it, it burns, or you can put coal in it, because you have coal gas too. Sherlock Holmes, you probably all have heard of that, even in other parts of the world. If you look at the Sherlock Holmes, the original sort of Sherlock Holmes mystery type period, all those gas lightings in people's homes or on the streets, it wasn't natural gas, it was coal gas. So they had sort of big furnaces around London that they'd haul in coal and burn it and put it up smokestacks, and then all that coal would dust would rain down over the city and turn the city black. That wasn't why they were doing it. They could have just painted the city black. They were doing it because when you burn the coal or the wood, but they mainly use coal gas in Britain, when you burn it, it gives off a gas, and they would trap that gas and then run it through a piping system, and then you could light that gas on fire to burn for light and heat, but it was primarily a light producer in that. So that's what you're seeing in gas light is the old term for it, before electric light. And so they would burn coal gas there, but these are mostly for wood gas. It's just that. And so you can put wood, and so you can get lots of wood. There's lots of wood around the place. Well, it depends on the country, obviously. One country that did do a lot of this also was Finland. I know they've got lots of trees up there. And you can get scrap wood. You can just get non-usable as building material wood, and burn it. And you could do this today. It's a renewable fuel source. It runs vehicles just fine. There is one problem. It is underpowered. There's written accounts of bus going between towns at the steep part of some road hill. They would all the passengers would get out, and the sort of young fit type passengers, mostly male, but young fit passengers, like in Germany, I'm thinking, they get out and sort of help push the bus up over the steepest part, of the sort of hill. Everybody would get back on the bus and go along. So under normal conditions, it's fine. Running a tractor, it's okay, so long as you're not putting too much stress on it. It's going to be okay, and it'd be useful if you, say, had a taxi in a city and you wanted to keep running it, and of course, whether you could convert your vehicle and still get gas ration coupons and sell the gas, or the coupons or whatever to somebody else, or simply not have to worry about rationing and run a taxi cab around a city or something. It's going to work just fine. You got a delivery truck, it's going to work just fine. You got a sort of big industrial truck, it's going to work fine. Just only put half the load in it that you would put for your regular petrol engine. Trying to get out, because the Americans, we call it gas as liquid, because that's short for gasoline, as opposed to petrol. That's why we have that mixed term. So basically, I give a 10% fuel bonus for Germany for the rest of the game because of this. And I'm looking at this as a starting now as increasing use of this for non-military, so you can continue doing all the industry type needs that you need trucks for. Captured supplies in City Barani. Don't know why, because I haven't, since the last several playthroughs, I have not been adding any new elements to any of the mods, so I don't know why we're seeing that. Okay. This was very fortuitous. No, not the Lick Division. Yeah, okay. 10th Panzer. I said not to look. And we're gonna run these guys up here. I have a feeling these guys will collapse on me if we continue to push this. Maybe not. Surprised they haven't collapsed yet. So you can occupy that. Okay, mountain unit training. These things are firing a bit faster than I like, but I may have been holding for a while. They're supposed to maybe start earlier in 40 and various things. Okay. Mountain unit training has advanced. That is good. I believe that's down here. Yeah, 42. We're going to stop that. Cancel. Oh, we want to... Oh, we don't... I don't get proper notification of these. How much... I want to move these to the bottom to see how much it does. Okay, we're stopping both of these guys. Okay. So we're all done with those for now. We might, of course, come back to the 41s fairly soon. Oh, but we can do the combined arms. We want to do those. So, there we go. British flyers. Michelle of the Resistance orders Renee to hide RAF flight lieutenants Fairfax and Carstairs until she can help them escape back to England. They must hide in many strange places around the cafe and often dress as onion sellers so the Germans think they're locals. Many pilots are escaping back to England, so nothing really is going on there, but just that. Kaiser Wilhelm II passed away. Okay. So, ooh, we get a massive hit for that for a while. Okay. The Germans go into mourning and the troops don't want to fight anymore. Okay. Don't know if it was quite that big a deal. Ah, and I've been waiting for this. Waiting and waiting and waiting. The territory of the military commander in Serbia was an area in the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. Territory. Okay, yes, we want this. We're getting the sort of monthly outbreaks anyways. Okay. Well, they're not getting... Who do we want to put in charge here? Okay, you can have that command. Well, it's not quite the Ersatz hairs. So we're going to put them under here, I think. Yeah. Under him. Get some command goodness out of it without clogging up the system. Okay, they've got a decent militia brigade, so eventually I want to get like these light infantry units and other things out of here to properly be. We'll give them a commander. Best and inexperienced one. Yeah, Schutzmannschaft. Fascist militia. We'll give this guy, whoever he is. Volksdeutsch Miliz. But we're gonna send these guys. Oh, he's Luftwaffe or whatever. Luftwaffe can command these guys. We're not really seeing outbreaks in Croatia. They're handling their territory well enough, so we'll send them down there. Okay, well now we have panzer divisions. Okay, guys, you come there. Oh, you should be attached to somebody's command structure. I'm gonna give you a lost it. We knew we were going to lose that one. Okay, single engine airframe. Research. And yes, I knew that'd be grayed out, but just looking to see. Fighter bomber prototypes, 40, 37 carrier. Yeah, I know about that, but let's look around. Oh, we got some of these. These go fast. So, let's do engineer upgrade first. And shift things around. Oh, they need a lot more consumer goods. You can have supplies. Great. You can have energy, that's great too. Okay, I think that cuts them off once they get down there. Now, I think, let's put these guys on board and sail them down to here, I guess. We want to pick up, hopefully there's no resupply ship immediately coming in here to mess with us. You over, keep coming here, but attack down that way. Let's see if we can find it closer and better command. No, not that one. That's better. Have we been getting any? Oh, we have been getting some enemy convoys. Somebody has. Gonna supply into there, I guess. That's what I thought they may be doing. We lost one sub here. Oh well. I have somebody there. We'll wait till they go by. Okay, and whoa, we stole some more blueprints. American blueprints stolen. Our spies have stolen plans that let us improve our abilities when the gun ability 4-engine plane to level 3. Okay, so while flying boats, of course, that's great. I mean, all improvements are good. Heavy transport defense, that's good. We're going to have some heavy bombers and whatnot. So that would be here. That's good. So we've got to jump ahead. But also tells us the U.S. is ahead of us considerably. On that, at least. So probably other things. OT Einsatzgruppe Winking. Organization TOTE can be used to expand the Norwegian industry, including alloy factories and power stations in Telemark. Build subpens and fortification. OT personnel will help keep. I wrote this. Will help. Help in should be the word in keeping partisans in check. And of course, when I do this, I don't necessarily always go back and change that, but should be help in keeping partisans in check. So we can start work. It's gonna cost us a bunch of supplies, some manpower, goodly amount of manpower, a little bit of money, lose some energy and some metal. That's all fine because we're gonna be building. And or not, we're gonna go yes, and we also get this. So okay, here we don't have a central. I don't know if I ever did create a central OZOTS or organization TOTE headquarters, but they also run from there. They run down into Denmark as well. So this is this structure as best I could interpret it. A little out of command range there. For organization TOTE in the north here. A little bit down here in Denmark. And these are just they're workers slash troops they represent. Now they also hire lots and lots of locals to work as well. So their actual numbers well, some of these numbers may be a bit high, and numbers got shifted around because I took this from some during war, but late war, 44, 45, U.S. intelligence handbooks on some of these stuff. So they didn't have exact numbers, but they had, you know, sort of different command levels and sort of kind of guessed. And since we only have like a 3,000 man unit, unless we're gonna try to do it. Probably a lot of these weren't 3,000 combat soldiers, and they also likely shifted around their armed security elements as needed, because there were various different needs at different times, of course. Okay, so we pushed into there. They're getting. Oh, you should be attacking. Okay. Give them money. No, thank you. Not across the Atlantic. Okay, battlefield concentration doctrine. Good. Improving our naval doctrines. That's nice. Commander decision. Radar training. We are going to have the one surface vessel, but light cruiser carrier group doctrine. Cruiser escort role. Let's do this. Okay, the Walther MKB.42W. The W stands for Walther. That's why the other one had an H for Hennel, if you didn't quite get that one. Okay, in 1940, another company joined the development of this new type of small arm, the famous German arm manufacturing company Karl Walter. Known for its fine and popular pistols, Walther had already been engaged in development of the intermediate cartridge firearm since 1936, when it produced a self-loading carbine for an experimental 7x30, I presume millimeter cartridge. Later, Walther developed several automatic designs in full-size 7.92 by 57 millimeter, and one of these experimental prototypes, the 7.92 millimeter A-115, served as a starting point for its for this Kurz rifle, the short cartridge. You can see the shorter cartridge versus that's the standard bolt action cartridge for, you know, the 98K or the MG34. This is the smaller one here, just give you size comparison. Walther began developing its own machine and carbiner as a private venture, but in 1941 it received official approval from the Heereswaffenamt for further development in competition with Henel, the first MKBW's rifles being delivered to the Army. So what they're doing is that they're both developing these guns. We saw earlier the different, you know, the gas system on the Henel gun was above the barrel. This, you can sort of see that there's a bit of a gas recoil system below it there. At this time in 42, they deliver some of these guns for trials. I don't have the specific numbers here, so I don't know. They're in small numbers, is my understanding. Where before we saw like 5,000 of the semi-auto ones that were delivered slightly before Barbarossa from Mauser and from Walther. So those are much larger. These are, I think, either in the low hundreds or even lower than that they're getting in. And you can see some photos of some troops out there with some, and they get into the thousands a bit later, but or maybe, but you can see some around. So that they're working and functional. They're just not necessarily up to everybody's standards yet. So we can throw some supplies at it or not. We're going to do that. Bit of a no-brainer, unless you've already somehow achieved assault weapons goodness, so you have the option not to. Okay, small ship crew berthing has advanced. That is great. Let's shift it over to engines. Don't want to totally ignore some of these other things. Okay, and I'm also seeing up here, we had a big over needs, but we're going to go to that, and yeah, we can take it from officers. That's fine. I think we're doing pretty well there. Okay, state visit for Ion Antonescu in Munich. In June 10th, 1941, Ion Antonescu visited Hitler in Munich to discuss the final preparations for the soon-to-begin operations against the Soviet Union. Welcome. Okay, so they lose dissent and we improve our relations by 5. Very good. Although we're discussing them, but they're not going to happen now. Hungarian occupation of northern Serbia. Let's go up to here. Okay. I think that's probably what's already here. But Hungary occupied Yugoslav territories during the war. These territories had all been under Hungarian rule prior to 1920 and had been transferred to Yugoslavia as part of post-World War I Treaty of Trianon. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but that's what I'm going with for the moment. In August 1941, the civilian administration took over the government of the recovered southern territories, and they were formally annexed into Hungary in December 41. After a small-scale armed resistance broke out in Hungarian-occupied regions in the second half of 41, the Hungarian military reacted with heavy repressive measures. Okay. So they're going to be clamping down on their territories here, I presume mostly here, but they also got some stuff along here, I think. Or here. Just now, maybe. Look at the map before that. Okay. Well, they're coming around here. Let's send the light infantry down into there. And we're gonna send Kuril into there. Hopefully this will cut off their retreat. Don't have to keep chasing them. And money for rare materials. Okay. Not terribly happy with this Damascus thing. Or this Syria thing. And if they were my puppet, I would be okay with it, but they're not. Okay, we would give them money for rare materials. Yes, we will do this because we can transfer through here now. Yes, the British can intercept us still. But ooh. Okay. Just their air or something here, I think. Okay, gross Deutschland, you come this way. You pause. Get under Guderian's command. How long will it get? 15 hours, that's fine. Okay, we stopped their northern thing. Okay. Don't think Turkey's ever going to voluntarily join with us, so either you gotta decide to invade them, or let them go and be their own thing. Well, we're not going to keep motorized forces down there. We can keep some. And I'm building some occupation troops. Okay. Roosevelt freezes assets. President Roosevelt ordered by executive order today the immediate freezing of the assets of the United States or in the United States of Germany and Italy and all invaded or occupied European countries whose funds and investments had not previously been frozen. 6 other countries affected by this order: the Soviet Union, Switzerland, Sweden, Portugal, Finland. Spain will be able to obtain licenses to withdraw funds under strict control. So, you know, if it's sort of like Dutch money or government money or, you know, Dutch company money in the U.S., it's being frozen because who's running that company? Is it a German occupier that's ordering the money to be transferred for, you know, to buy something that's going to be maybe sent to a Dutch colony somewhere that then going to be sent to Germany that's going to be used or something. So they're freezing that for their own protection and against Italy and Germany because of bad behavior, as we've seen before. And then of the 6 other countries are, because the Soviet Union has invaded its neighbors, and Switzerland, Sweden, Portugal, Finland, and Spain can withdraw funds to, you know, purchase things, but they sort of got to kind of prove that it's not being, the stuff that they're doing is not being done to help Germany. This will lead to in a few days to Germany and Italy, shutting the U.S. consulates and expelling diplomats. Now, this is all part of that overlapping thing on that other event, because it's going back and forth with that other event. So it's multiple things going on. So our relations are improved by Romania, because Romania was one of the countries also affected, because it's one of the Axis nations here. So if they're helping, it's actually moving them closer to us if they hadn't already been in the Axis, and really hurting relations with the U.S. Okay. Norwegian resistance is rising. Okay. Although Norway did not have any major battles beyond those of the Norwegian campaign, a number of military operations served to subvert the Nazi authorities and contribute to the larger war effort. Small sabotage units formed over time ended up building a full military force in time for the liberation. These units were specialized in coastal insertions and combat. The Norwegian spotters aided in the destruction of numerous German warships, such as the battleships Bismarck and Tirpitz. Perhaps its most famous achievements were a series of operations to destroy Norsk Hydro heavy water power plant and stockpile of heavy water at Vemork, crippling the German nuclear program. Of lesser military importance was the distribution of illegal newspapers. The purpose of this was twofold: to counteract the Nazi propaganda and to maintain nationalistic anti-German feelings in the population at large. It has been suggested that the combating the illegal press expended German resources out of proportion to the illegal media's actual effects. Towards the end of the war, the resistance became more open, with rudimentary military occupations set up in the forces around the larger cities. A number of Nazi collaborators and officials were killed. Those collaborating with the Germans or Quisling authorities were ostracized both during and after the war. Okay, so yes, we have this. Okay, so we have regiment revolt in any and all. Norway. Let's see, but then local partisan and what not. So we have minimum revolt risk of 2 now and +3. Okay. And this is obviously overdone a bit, as they were saying. Okay, well, we'll deal with this. German-Italian trade agreement 1941. The ill preparedness of Italy to participate in Hitler's war came at a huge cost. The Reich had to support its main European ally continuously, despite difficulties in providing enough war material to the Wehrmacht and German armament. Both Hitler and his armament minister Albert Speer came to the conclusion that supporting Italy's heavily is cheaper than witnessing a political breakdown of Mussolini's fascist government and seeing them leave the Axis at this critical point in the war. Okay, those are Panzer IIIs on trains. So they're fine, or we can give them that. Okay, let's use economic means with them. So we improve our relations by 5. We gain 25 manpower. That's good. Lose 1,000 money. Okay, I can deal with that. We've got enough that we could. I'm going to see if I can sell more supplies to the Soviets. Italy loses 25 manpower. I'm good with that because I don't know what their current manpower state is, and they're thankfully no longer defending the Swiss border overtly heavily. But they seem to have a lot of units, and there's even a lot more down here. So I don't think... Now, a lot of these are weak, but I don't know how much that just because they've been cut off and down here and being messed with. Don't think it's a massive manpower thing. And they also gain some metal and some supplies. That's good. Or they're fine. That's also okay to do, I would say, because at least right now, they're not facing any critical war situations. Win or lose down here ain't critical. It's nice that they win, but it's not critical. So, but we'll do this. It's not a big thing. Convoys in North Africa again. This really does, revolverheld, if you're watching. I totally agree. And now here, this is obviously a real situation. I mean, not real as in historical, but real as in something that's concerning. But we're still presumably flowing enough supplies down through Athens, protected by all of our air bases here, down here. So I think that's potentially overdone for continuing. So there should be a check. Okay, yeah. Okay, so our forces are under attack everywhere. So there's just a few places they're not. And it's fine that this is somewhat overdone, as long as this isn't overly repeated. Okay, they've won there. So you attack there. Okay, we're just gonna, well, we got these guys still. Hey, student. Go kick some partisan butt. That's the only non-HQ unit there. Yep. Okay, but we have some good HQs that can go kick some partisan butt. Heavy artillery and more heavy artillery. So they're going to... Well, if we didn't have them, well done. Now, if the British had maintained their ships here, that big super fleet, yeah, maybe I could get all of the Luftwaffe and then pound that fleet, but that would have been really hard and costly. And maybe not worth it. But had they done that and then set up so that these forces would retreat back to sea, this would have been a much smarter thing to do. But we're helping grinding up our leaders here, yay. Okay, oh, so we also have this German-Italian trade agreement effect. So energy down by 15%, fine, don't care about that. We got more than enough. Metal 1.5. We've been hovering on the edge of positive and negative metal, so that's okay. Rare materials, so they're sending us rare materials, good. And supplies, hope Italy's getting something better out of this than just this cost, but a little bit much on the, well, no, it's probably right for history. Okay, so, engineers upgrade advanced, that was this one, so let's do, yeah, let's just do motorized engineers for this combined. Okay, this looks interesting. Kiss and greet operation closed down. From the war's beginning, a steady stream of packages, many marked Gruß and Kuss, greetings and kisses, had been sent from the United States through neutral countries to Germany by a number of U.S.-based organizations, euphemistically termed travel agencies, advertising special combinations of gift packages in the German-language newspapers. Despite high prices, one mail company, the Fortra Corporation of Manhattan, admitted it had sent 30,000 food packages to Germany in less than 3 months, a business which exceeded $1 million US per year. The British said that of the 2,500 packages examined in 3 months, 17,000 contained contraband of food items as well as cash and small amounts of foreign currency, diamonds, pearls, and maps of potential military value. How interesting. When a ton of airmail from the American Clipper was confiscated in Bermuda, the American government banned outright the sending of parcels through the U.S. airmail. During the period, the Italian Lotti airline, flying between South America and Europe, also used to smuggle small articles such as diamonds and platinum, in some cases concealed within the airframe, until the practice was ended by the Brazilian and U.S. governments. The airline assisted in Brazil's confiscation after, the airline's assets in Brazil were confiscated after British intelligence services in the Americas engineered a breakdown in relations between the airline and the Brazilian government. U.S. travel agencies were eventually closed down along with the German consulates and information centers on June 16th. Well, consulate and information centers is much going down because of the U.S. ships as well as this. Okay, this is interesting. I did not know about this. That they were sending this much stuff via the mail. Not all of it air, but a bunch of it air. To Germany. Now you have to realize that there are lots and lots of German Americans and Italian Americans who have relatives in Germany and Italy. And in, June or before 1941, it's not unpatriotic to be, just to want to send, stuff to what sounds like a lot of this is the greetings and kisses stuff is just going to individuals, so your aunt or your uncle or whoever living in Germany would get a parcel of food that is obviously not on the ration, so it doesn't count against their ration quotas, and could be treats and other stuff, but just sort of helping them out. Maybe, and they also talk a little bit of money to help them buy food. So sure, it helps German morale and whatnot, but it's not funding the German war effort, in any, it's 30,000 food packages. Now that's in less than 3 months, so that's 10,000. But 10,000 food packages, I figure something less than 10 pounds of food. That isn't going to keep the German economy, food economy going very long. It's a perk for those who get it. So, but I understand why they want to shut it down as well. But it doesn't seem to be, a major thing. But it's probably as much or more related to at least the consulates and information centers closed down as to the sinking of the U.S. ship. Like I say, you start sinking the U.S. ships, you get a lot of reaction from the U.S. So our relations with the U.S. is down. So I guess the 10,000 rare materials is stuff that has come in before this time, up to now, and that just we're getting it one big thing, and our relation down with the U.S. by 1, and Italy's and the U.S. down by 1. Okay. Well, on that note, I think we're going to end the episode here. So I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. I really do appreciate that. And of course, please post questions, comments, suggestions, corrections, additional information, whatever. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.